Greetings, students. So today we're going to talk about something called the C of understanding. And I usually like to do this sometime around the first or second or third unit test in AP Biology because I think it's kind of a helpful analogy to help you move forward. So basically your goal is to get into the C of understanding. It's a wonderful place. When you're in the C of understanding, grades just kind of take care of themselves. You go outside for a walk and the natural world just kind of unfolds all around you. You just start to notice and observe and see and understand things. Your peers have a newfound level of respect for you once you understand biology. Prom dates take care of themselves, for example. Lots of options there. So how do you get into that sea of understanding? So I'm going to use a little analogy here. So imagine that you are this person and you're trying to get into the sea of understanding. It turns out you can't quite just walk into the sea of understanding, and that's because there are sort of some jagged, sharp spikes right before. It's a bit treacherous to get into the sea of understanding. And so in order to get in there, you actually have to climb up this platform. And so what I mean by that platform, what that represents is you need to engage. You can't just sit there like a lump. So these are things like showing up for class, participating in class activities, doing homework thoughtfully, and that sort of thing. So you do all that stuff, you go into the first test, you're like, all right, I think I got it. I'm ready to jump into the sea of understanding. And after the Unit 1 test, some of you went and you jumped over the edge, and you might see the problem that's arising. That first test score came back, and you didn't quite make it, right? You kind of got stuck and impaled on those spikes, and you're like, what the heck? I showed up to class, I did my part. Why didn't I do well? Well, just showing up isn't quite enough to be successful in a lot of things in life. There's a little bit more to it. What you need to do in AP Biology in particular is you need to study, right? You have to go beyond just the basics of showing up. And so you need to go through those notes and make sure you understand them. You've got to do practice problems. You've got to write practice essays. You've got to think through things. All of these things are kind of like building a rope. And so you take the time to really go through those notes, to make sense of them, and you think you got it. And so you grab onto that rope, and then Unit 2 test, here we go, you're all ready to take off. You go swing across, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! And unfortunately, forgot to mention one other thing. The opposite side of the sea of understanding is also covered with jagged, sharp rocks along that cliff edge. And so some of you, after doing a lot of work, studying and preparing for that test, somehow you ended up, once again, impaled there on these rocks, and you're frustrated because I memorized every single thing that was in my notes. I memorized every single piece of the homework packet. Why didn't I do well? And here's the key. It's not enough just to show up for class and be an active participant. You got to study as well and really know the stuff. But then here's the key to AP Biology. You also have to be able to let go and to think on your feet. And that is why some of you may have gotten impaled over on this other side. What that looks like, it's kind of like the analogy, like you're clinging desperately to that rope. And so if you're like, I memorized and I could visualize in my notes exactly where that one word from the test was, that sort of level of like, I really knew the notes is kind of a sign that you might be clinging too tightly to that rope. And so you're clinging so tightly, and then you get into the test, and as we've said all along, you're going to be asked to apply your knowledge to a new situation that you've never seen before. And so sure enough, a question comes up, asking you to apply your knowledge to a situation you've never seen before, and you panic a little bit. You're like, hey, wait, we didn't cover that. That wasn't in the textbook. That wasn't in the notes. And you're right, it wasn't. It's because it's a new situation that you're being asked to think about. And so in that panic, you cling desperately, and you're thinking through all the notes, and you're thinking through all the work you did, and you're like, I don't see it, I don't remember it. And that is what caused you to impale. So the key to this is when you're ready to take that test, you want to use your engagement in class to get on that platform. You want to use your study outside of class to build that rope. And then you want to swing out over the sea of understanding. And then you need to accept the fact that you're going to be asked to do something that you haven't seen before. And when that happens, you need to be willing to let go of that rope and think on your feet. And fall gracefully into the sea of understanding. Thank you.